Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, where you can sign up for the Shannons Club, and Penrite Oil, offering technical assistance 7 days a week.
Hello and welcome to another amazing episode of Classic Restos. Of course, not possible without the continued support from Shannons Insurance and Penrite Oil. And where would we be without Shannons Insurance? If you own any classic such as this, it just has to be with Shannons. Why not pick up the phone and give them a call for a quote on 134646? There's also fantastic opportunities too with Shannons, with competitions and promotions. Go online and sign up to become a member of the Shannons Club, where it's your opportunity there to interact with fellow enthusiasts such as ourselves. The Shannons Club really is your garage. Find out more when you visit them online at shannons.com.au. Have a look at this, a Magnum 440, 375 horsepower from the factory, single 4-barrel car back in the day. Of course it uses Penrite oil. When it comes time for oil and coolant, you can't go past Penrite. Aussie made, Aussie owned, been around since 1926, and the Penrite Technical Assistance line is there to help you 7 days a week. It's also available throughout distributors here in the United States of America. Find out more when you visit them online at penrite.com.au. On this week's episode of Classic Restos, thanks to Carlisle Events here in Pennsylvania, United States of America, I return to bring you one of the largest Mopar events on the planet. Welcome to the 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals. This is it, the big daddy of car shows, the grand final where all Mopar makes and models make touchdown and cross the line in all of their shining glory and refined exuberance. Car manufacturers back in the 1950s and 1960s were out there with some of their designs and power specifications. But then there was Chrysler Dodge, producing some of the most exciting shapes and colours wrapped in decals that meant when you sat next to one at the traffic lights, it meant don't even try. It was from a time where the larger, longer and louder snapped the necks of the general public. A time when each new car, make and model meant something to everyone. This year at the 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals, as you know, Building G is always a Fletcher favourite, featuring the 50th year of the fire-breathing 426 Hemi. You'll see a variety of race Hemi cars in race and stock trim thanks to the Race Hemi reunion. Building Y is also great for a Bo Peep this year, where you'll drool over the M-Code, lift-off hood 446-barrel Roadrunners and Super Bs. And Building T cannot be forgotten either, as there is an amazing display of Mopars that also include a tribute to 50 years of the Barracuda. And when you toss into the mix the 40th anniversary of Carlisle Events, along with 100 years of Dodge, need I say more? The 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals is well above and beyond a world-class event. And you can see this in 2015 on a Fletcher tour. In fact, this 3-day event is so large, and although this is day one, things started revving up last night at a dealership not far from here in Mechanicsburg at Faulkner Dodge Ram. Here's a little of what happened last night. Well, here we are at Faulkner Dodge at Mechanicsburg. How are you, Steve?
I'm tremendous, Fletch. Having a good time.
You'd have to be. 1973 Sebring. Now, what I like about this car, it's pretty different because when you first look at it, you might think, hey, look at that Roadrunner over there, but tell us the deal.
This is not a Roadrunner per se. It's a Roadrunner body, but it's a Sebring Plus, which is an upgrade of the body from a Roadrunner. And it carries the same engine and transmission, all that kind of stuff. Interior's a little nicer. It's a, shall we say, the upscale version of a Roadrunner.
It's got that real tough stance about it. When you look under the hood, it's got the 400 there. I mean, you know, this has been incredibly maintained, and it's also very nicely restored as well.
Well, yeah, we spent a couple years, my sons and I, restoring it. I did a rotisserie restoration on it. Took it completely apart. And then did all the body work. Had to do some sheet metal work. Sheet metal isn't available for this car, so we had to fabricate it, and then put it all back together. And then the kids painted it. They wouldn't let me touch the paint. I couldn't do that. I could do the rough work, but they said I'm too hard on the paint. I buff off the edges and stuff like that. Yeah. So they wouldn't let me do that.
Steve, how long have you had this car?
I've had this car since 1973, so it's 41 years old.
Brand new, right?
Brand new. I bought it brand new, ordered it, waited 12 weeks for it.
You know, you would have been one of the coolest kids on the block back then, and it still looks really nice now. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you, Fletch, for interviewing me.
One other really cool feature about this 1973 Sebring is that with this engine and transmission combination, only 115 of these cars were ever built. Moving through Faulkner Dodge Ram here at Mechanicsburg, United States of America. We got Barry now. How are you, Barry?
Pretty good, Fletch. How are you?
Great, great. Look, these cars excite me. A 1962 Plymouth Savoy. Boy, we're talking super stock class here. I mean, this is an awesome bit of gear. What's the deal?
She's had the car a few years, and you know, been fixing her up and trying to get it the way I want it.
How long have you had it, Barry?
About 4 years.
About 4 years. I mean, you're always after this type?
Yeah, I'm always a 62 Plymouth. I had a brand new one when I graduated from high school in 1962, so I've always been favored to them.
How did you get a brand new one when you graduated from high school back in 62? That's amazing.
That's my father was a Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Oh, that's got to help, right? So you cut your teeth on these things?
That's right. Wow. Yeah, it's 383 cubic inch. Yeah. Got the 2.4s. Factory rated them at 343 horsepower. They didn't build a whole lot of them, but I guess they did build a few.
Barry, great catching up here. Thank you very much. It's an honour to have a car like this on the show. Thank you, Barry.
Yep, you're welcome.
Moving through 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals on this week's episode of Classic Restos. Here in Building Y, events manager Ed Brzezinski. How are you, Ed?
I'm wonderful, Fletch. How are you?
Good, thank you. Great to see you again.
Always great to see you, Fletch.
I keep saying this every year about you've nailed it once again. Is there something about this year, or is it me? It is just amazing.
It is, and I feel like every year gets better, and I don't know how. But between the cars and the people, I think it does get better each year.
Chrysler is just so synonymous for their shapes and their colours, and I think that's what's standing out here today. This particular year, though, and hats off to you as well for bringing all this together, 100th year of Dodge, 50th year of the 426 Hemi, 50th year of the Barracuda, and we've also got 40th year of the anniversary of Carlisle Events.
That's correct. Yeah, we've got a lot to celebrate this year.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, your job on Monday must start for next year.
It started several Mondays ago.
So, Ed, what's the most passionate thing in your eyes this year at Carlisle?
Probably the building we're standing in right now, because what a lot of people might not know is that it is the 69.5 Super B that got me into Mopars. Being a car guy all my life, I just liked cars in general. But when I was about 12 years old, I got a 69.5 six-pack Super B model. And I loved the styling. Didn't know what a six-pack was, but I learned, and then that was it. From then on, I realized Mopars were the car for me.
Ed, it must be awesome in your line of work to turn up here every morning and work for Carlisle Events and just be surrounded by your hobby.
Oh, it is, absolutely. Day to day, I get to deal with the greatest people. I mean, a lot of people think working with the celebrities is the best part, but I love just talking to any of the car people. It's my passion, too.
That's what it's like here. All the event managers and from Bill and Lance Miller all the way through, they're in touch with the people. I think that's an extremely important key.
Oh, absolutely. If you don't know the hobby and what you're doing, you know, a lot of people think that Carlisle Events hired an event manager to run a car show. Well, they hired a car guy to try to figure out how to be an event manager.
Ed, you're doing a wonderful job. It's one of the largest Chrysler events in the world, and you've pulled it all together again. You must be feeling very proud about that. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, but it's not me, it's the team. I mean, every year I feel just more and more proud of the team we have here, and this year, I don't know, somehow, again, like the show, it's gotten better. I just love it when on Thursday when we start to set up and I just see everybody going around doing their thing. Everything's coming together. People just know what to do.
Ed, it's always a pleasure catching up with you. I look so forward to this every year. It's certainly an integral part now of what I do for the TV show.
Oh, Fletch, it's always my pleasure. You know, to have you and Classic Restos here is always great.
Thanks, Ed.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Don't forget to support Shannons Insurance because they support us as enthusiasts. Why not pick up the phone and give Shannons a call on 134646. Their website is also very comprehensive, an opportunity for you to sign up to become a member of the Shannons Club. It's a place where you can list your car club or even search for other car clubs there as well. Check out Shannons online at shannons.com.au. And the finest in oils and coolants, you can't go past Penrite. The technical assistance line is there to help you 7 days a week. Check out Penrite at penrite.com.au. You're watching the 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals here in the United States of America. Back with more in just a moment. Okay, Randy, now this 71 Duster, now these cars weren't sold in Australia down under, an American-built car, an American-sold car, very similar to the Valiant. How far does the Duster go back with you?
Well, the Valiant started back in the early 60s, and around 1970, Fletch, they made them into muscle cars. And as like 71, what they did is they put a lot of stripes on them to make them give it that muscle car look. And that's they came out with the high impact colors, and it's one of America's true muscle cars.
Now, Randy, a 1971 car, 340, what a screamer of a small block. They were just so good with their 4-barrel carbs. Yeah. You've also got the Hurst shifter as well going on there.
Yeah, the 4-speed and the air conditioning. So at my age, I cruise down the highway, put the air on, and put the tunes on and enjoy my muscle car.
I love what you've done. This is a stunning car. I love the interior, the original orange houndstooth. How cool is that?
Well, it's the 70s, you know. That's the look back then.
Some houses had wallpaper like that the same.
Exactly. And people can't believe that was offered back in 71. But that's what they did it was an option in 1971, which attracted the buyers.
Randy, you have your little photo album here too. You've restored the car. How long ago was that?
Well, I did it about 2.5 years ago during the winter. I completely disassembled the whole car. I rebuilt the whole powertrain, painted all the car in lacquer, and hand rubbed it, and we put actually 12 coats of paint on it.
Wow, that's beautiful, absolutely stunning.
I really appreciate Fletcher and Classic Restos for coming to Carlisle. It just adds to the sport, and it makes the work you put into a car, it makes it all worth it, because when you get here and the recognition you gave us, on the car makes it all worthwhile working on a car during the winter and getting, everything done.
What a great guy. Good on you, Randy. It's my pleasure, buddy.
Appreciate it very much.
Interesting trivia here in the United States too. 1971 was the final year where they decided to remove the badging of Valiant from a Duster. Down under in Australia, every car made by Chrysler seemed to wear the Valiant badge, where the tradition here in the United States, Valiant was always made by Plymouth. Moving through on today's show, time for a lounge room car, a 1970 Chrysler Newport. How are you, Steve?
Very good, Fletch.
That's the way. Thanks for bringing this car out here today.
You're welcome. We had an enjoyable drive this morning bringing it here.
How far did you drive?
4 hours, about 200 miles.
And how did the big car go over that journey?
Smooth as glass.
Yeah. Hey, there's a lot to be said for these things. Big, heavy car, big diff ratios, low revs on the freeway, am I right?
Yes. Has 276 highway gears in the rear and gets decent gas mileage and runs very low RPMs on the highway at 75 miles an hour.
Yeah, you'd be around 2,500?
Yeah, around 2,200, about 75 miles an hour.
Well, there you go. We'll just split the difference. You know, what's beautiful about this big car, too, is that it's a convertible. I mean, is it a rare car?
Yes, they made 1,120 of them.
1,120, and here's one of them right here. The interior is beautiful. Has that been redone, Steve?
This is the original interior. I had repainted the headrests and the door panels, and other than that, the interior is original and has 36,000 original miles on it.
So that's hasn't done the 99,999 and gone again. That's the original miles.
When I bought it in 1999, it had 32,000 miles on it, and I have all the original paperwork and document to prove the mileage.
That is amazing. Lurking up front, the 383. What have you done there, Steve?
I've done some minor modifications. It's the original numbers matching engine. years ago, I worked with a friend who talked me into changing the camshaft so the car has a nice tone on the exhaust. And added a 4-barrel carburetor because they originally had a 2-barrel carburetor to give it a little extra power. And it's just great, very reliable, and it's just a fun car. And the exhaust sounds great with the new camshaft in it, and I get a lot of compliments.
You get complimented by the sound out of your back end.
Yes, I do.
Steve, you know what I love about this car too, apart from its enormity, its road presence, its stance. I mean, even you look at the side profile shot, it just looks amazing, doesn't
It
it?
has all the original springs. It even has the original shock absorbers that are still in the car. Because normally you think the back end would be sitting down low from the old springs, and it still sits nice.
Why don't you shout yourself a set of new shocks, Steve? I think, I think you deserve it.
Yeah, someday. I'd like to get my, maybe my bumpers re-chromed someday.
Well, I've got news for you about the shocks. They're out of warranty.
Ah, that's not good.
Well, the rest of the car is, Steve. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you, Fletch.
You're welcome.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Yep.
A very special part of the 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals is the Mopar Survivors display. Mopar Survivors have to be unrestored, at least 25 years old, and 80% of paint, interior and drivetrain are as they come from the factory. This is the best Mopar Survivors display in the world, and some cars are being displayed for the first time ever. Inside the Survivors tent, how amazing is this? How are you, Joseph?
Doing great, Fletch. How are you?
Good, good. Thought I'd pick on you. You've got a delightful 1966 Charger with a unique story. Would you like to tell us?
Well, the unique story is recently found the owner that bought the car originally just a few weeks ago. Now, in 1973, my brother found this car in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, where Mr. Farber sold the car for the first time. A young kid bought the car, didn't like it, and apparently traded it in within less than a year, where my brother found it while he was going to school at the Penn State New Kensington campus near Tarentum. Tom kept the car nice for 30 years. What saved the car during that period was Tom remained a bachelor. There was no wife, no children. He was into BMWs and drove sporty cars to work, and this car stayed in the garage most of the time. When he did finally get married, at the age of about 48 or so, he asked me if I was interested, bring a trailer and a check to the wedding, and I could take the car home, which I did.
Did you have to twist your arm? Did you have to think about it very hard, or did you make the decision fairly quickly?
I made the decision in an instant, if I recall. Yeah. And I was happy to get the car because there are 4 other brothers that he could have offered it to. It was an honor to get it from Tom.
I think it's really wonderful here in the United States, Joseph, that there are so many cars like this that have the unique stories and the history. It's amazing.
There are resources to find out your car story, as I found out with this one, and there are many great stories. And I've just talked with the original owner on the phone a few weeks ago, and he told me some great stories. He bought it in March of '67. It was lingered on the lot for a while, and that Memorial Day he took it drag racing and won his class with a 361 2-barrel. And I asked him, do you have that trophy? So he's searching his archives and for photographs and all of that. So when we do meet, if I have to go to Massachusetts, I'll do that to let him drive his car. He's delighted it's still on the road.
I just think that's just amazing. And the 66 Charger as well. I mean, how opulent were they? So much bright work and chrome, and they had an incredible interior. They really did.
The interior is all original on this car. It's not been restored in any manner. And the seats have a little wear on the driver's side only. But the chrome, and this one has the light package. When you open the doors at night, it just lights up the interior of the car with the extra lighting. They were opulent, and they were actually kind of high priced for a mid-sized car in their day. Absolutely. And they didn't sell real well until Dodge came out with the second gens, lowered the price, and of course the rest is history. The second gens are famous.
Well, you've passed the category check to make it into this very special tent here for this year, and it's great catching up with you, Joseph, and keeping the tradition alive with this gorgeous 66 Charger. Good for you.
Thank you very much.
You know, taking in any Carlisle event will blow your mind here at Carlisle Events. You can either take in a Ford, GM or Chrysler National event along with private car collections and touring around the museums. You can experience this in 2015 on a Fletch tour. And then it's a return in August to the Motown city of Detroit and its region, taking in the Woodward Dream Cruise. If you can picture yourself travelling to the United States of America on a Fletch tour in 2015, go to classicrestos.com.au and click on the Fletch Tours icon for more information. Back with more Mopars after this. Welcome back. This year's event, 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals, 50th anniversary of the Barracuda. Welcome to the show, Gary.
Thank you.
Gary, what a beautiful car. How else do we start this? I mean, this car has had a full nut and bolt restoration. Absolutely beautiful. Tell us the story. Apparently it was going to go to the crusher.
Yeah, when I first got it and got it home, the frame rail rusted out. I didn't know what to do with it, so I thought about getting rid of it. But then I found a frame rail for a 70 Dart and installed it, and from there it went on as far as restoring it.
See, the underpinnings of all of these cars are the same as what we've had in Australia with our Valiants, and although the Barracuda wasn't marketed as such down in Australia, underpinnings same, and Dart, Valiants, and this is good when it comes to the universal fit of replacing parts. Now, tell us the deal. How long did it take you to do this project?
It took me 7 years to restore it.
You were just taking your time, weren't you, Gary?
Take my time, but it's trying to keep the money flowing to do it.
Not only has he restored this car, he's done it well. It's virtually a concourse car. And when we have a look at this beautiful blue, which, by the way, what's the colour?
881.
It's called 881.
Yes.
Okay, we've got an 881 blue. We've got a gorgeous white interior, and it's a convertible car. You got a 273 up front, the little 273, tough as nails. What a combination.
Yeah, I like it.
Time now to look at the interior. Isn't it beautiful? I mean, the mid-60s cars, they were just so opulent. Give us a rundown on the interior, Gary.
It's a white upholstery. It's an automatic transmission. It's a Formula S car, which gives you, supposed to have wood grain dash in it.
During the build, Gary, what would be the most problematic part? What gave you the most grief?
Almost everything. Some things I did 3 times if I wasn't happy with it. The hood louvers on this hood, I had them done 2 times to get it to perfect to what my standards, what I wanted. Just everything was hard to do.
Well, look, at the end of the day, you know, it's all about effort. Sounds like doing a TV show, Gary.
Yes, it does.
Gary, wonderful catching up with you. 50th anniversary of the Barracuda. You've done the fraternity proud here, turning up this year at Carlisle for the Chrysler Nationals. Well done, Gary.
Thank you, Fletcher.
You know, I am excited. Here at the 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals, there is the Car Corral. It's a main feature here every year and at every event, whether it be Ford, GM or Chrysler. It's an opportunity for individuals such as this nice gentleman here to turn up and try and sell their cars. In some cases, I look at these cars and wonder why they want to sell them. Cars like this have never been on Classic Restos before. In fact, the front of this car is the logo used as the Classic Restos emblem. Welcome to the show, Rick.
Thank you, Fletcher. Nice to be here.
It's nice to interview you. A wagon. I am speechless here. Tell us about the car.
It's a 1961 Plymouth Sport Suburban. I bought it from a friend of mine. He's a car collector, Gary Guerin. He had it for about a year, and I always liked it, so he offered to sell it to me, so I bought it about a year and a half ago.
How cool is this? How cool is it? I mean, the length of the wagon, the way it sits, all its exuberance from the 1960s era. I mean, something like this, they're just on their own, aren't they?
Yes, sir. If you look on the internet, 1961 Plymouth, it says hit with an ugly stick.
Maybe that's what it is. It's so archaic in the ugly department that you've got to love it. I look at the things in terms of the trim, the style, the die cast. It's the gun sight tail lights down the side of the rear fenders. It's all that type of opulent stuff that is, you just won't find that again.
It's a little bit odd. If you go to a car show, you don't see a whole lot of them. I've never seen another one at a car show.
How much money have you got on this?
I'm asking $35,000.
And why are you selling it?
I've got 5 other cars, so I'm just trying to narrow down just a little bit, and I'll probably buy something else.
Is it a good car? I mean, could you get in and virtually drive it anywhere without any problems?
Oh, yes. I drove it from Spartanburg, South Carolina, up here to Carlisle. It's 541 miles. No problems.
See, what do you say about it? All right, what's under the hood, Rick? What powers it?
It's got a 361 engine. It's called the Golden Commando engine. It's got the 4-barrel carburetor, and it has a straight drive transmission, which is rare in a wagon like this.
Just explain that in comparison to, say, the Torque Flight transmission. How does that vary?
Well, the Torque Flight would be like an automatic transmission, and this car has a clutch.
Oh, okay.
And they call it like 3 on the tree. The engine has 395 foot-pounds of torque, and it comes up the mountain easy. give it a little gas, put it in the left lane, and you can go around, you know, to pass somebody.
Well, they used to put 361s in trucks.
They did. Might be why it pulls the heels so good.
Rick, you're an absolute, you're a pleasure to interview. You're an utter gentleman, and thank you so much for your time out. Rick was a little reluctant to do the interview. I'm just so glad that you did. Thank you, Rick.
Well, thank you, Fletch. Have a good day.
Before I go, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think of us using the front of your car as our logo for Classic Restos?
I think you need to give me a T-shirt.
Well, this is the car corral at Carlisle Events, and you can see it when you join us in 2015 on a Fletch tour. Call it a buyer's market, call it frustration, call it what you will, but once you come in here, you may just find the car of your dreams. Well, what do we say to that? Just some of the 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals. And here at any Carlisle event, it really is about the cars, the people, and the excitement. And part 2 of Chrysler's is up on next week's episode. In the meantime, classicrestos.com.au. That's the website that you need for the DVD boxed sets of the show, Classic Restos merchandise, travelling with us in 2015 on a Fletch tour, contacting our major sponsors. It's all there awaiting you. Until next week, no matter where you're watching the show from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, where you can sign up for the Shannons Club, and Penrite Oil, offering technical assistance 7 days a week.